Hi, this is Ghost, and I'm playing 6 Days of Snow. This is an interactive story, maybe just a story. I don't know. It's not really a game, but it's not really a book either. You know, I forget what the word is. Anyway, it was made by Ebi Hime. I don't know. I'll put the name of it on screen. And it was released December 29th, 2017, so last winter. And it's gotten mostly positive reviews. In fact, it's gotten very positive reviews. And this is the summary for it. It says, in a small inn located in the snowy Japanese mountains, an unlikely relationship blossoms between a once popular poet and the daughter of the inn's proprietress. Not entirely sure what that word is. I'll put the definition of that word on screen right now. Anyway, if you can tell, my voice is a little bit different, and I don't know why. I've been having problems with my throat for a while now. It's been a few weeks. I mean, at first I thought it was just pharyngitis, at least that's what the hospital said, but I think it's gotten worse, so I might need to go to the hospital again. I call it a hospital, but it wasn't anything serious, you know. The place I went to was like half hospital, half clinic. I don't know. And something is really annoying outside. Okay, well, it stopped, whatever. Anyway, my throat is still not 100% well. I mean, I thought it was, but now it's getting weird. I don't know. I don't know. Like I said, I need to go to the doctors again. So that's why my voice might be a little bit different. It's just because I'm struggling. I know what you're thinking. Why are you making a video if you're sick? You know, why don't you just go lay down and rest? And well, I don't want to. That's my answer to that. I don't want to. I'm gonna keep making videos, maybe not sim videos, but I thought I'd make this. I thought it wouldn't be too straining on my throat, since I'm always yelling in the Sims videos. I'm always, you know, screaming, arguing with my fake children and my fake girlfriends, you know, or wife, depending on which Sims series I'm playing, or just arguing at Nick himself, who's the main character of both of those series. But anyway, I thought it would be an interesting idea to just have a playthrough of some relaxed game, which I'm not sure how relaxed 6 Days of Snow is, but from what I can tell, it's basically just all reading, so it's gotta be pretty chill, you know, I mean, no pun intended. So I'm gonna play this game, and it's gonna be a very unique playthrough. And also, oh my god, okay, yeah, that's yard work. Of course, every time I start recording something, somebody's gotta be hammering something, or doing yard work, or something. It's Monday at 12:38 p.m. Who is doing yard work on a Monday at 12:38 p.m.? I don't know, but it's one of my neighbors. I don't know if it's the druggy neighbors, or if it's the cat-killing neighbors, or if it's some other neighbors, but some neighbor is doing some... Okay, it stopped again. It stopped again. Lasted 2 seconds. What were they doing? What were they doing? That was That didn't sound like a lawnmower, you know? It sounded like they were, I don't know, drilling something. It was a weird sound. I've never heard that sound before. But whatever. My neighbors are crazy and I don't care about them. Well, I care about some of them. The good ones. The other ones I don't care about. Anyway. So this is going to be a very quiet Let's Play. Oh god, the yard work started up again. Oh, that's such an annoying sound. I don't even think it's yard work at this point. They might be building something out there. I don't know. They shouldn't be building anything. As far as I know, there's nothing out there that needs to be built. But whatever. Some horrible sound is going on outside. And I hope you guys can't hear it because it's really annoying. But, I bet you can't. I bet you can't hear it. It's just gonna be bothering me this whole time, and that's fine. That's fine. So this is going to be a quieter Let's Play. I'm not gonna be screaming and shouting. At least I'm gonna try not to scream and shout, because that'll just ruin my voice and throat even more than it's already been ruined. Anyway, let's begin. The 6 days of snow. The first day. I'm gonna try not to have my mouse in the way. Hopefully I can use enter. It was a dark night, and the snow was falling thick and heavy beyond the windows of the car. You know, I could have sworn that I've seen this kind of setup before. Maybe from Doki Doki Literature Club. Is this like a template that people use? I don't know, but I thought I'd mention that because this looks very familiar. Okay. I guess I can just click. Okay, maybe I can press enter then. Everything was pure white, like a saucer of milk had been appended over the earth. Nice words there. I wish I could write this nice. It looked pretty. At least it did when observed from the within the confines of the taxi, but I felt a surge of sympathy for whoever might be outside on such a night. Yeah, it's very cold. I wouldn't want to be out there. Actually, I would, because I really love snow. Like, I really, really love snow. I don't feel cold in the snow. The snow can be unforgiving, especially on a mountain like this. Why else would there be so many stories about strange, pale-skinned women that lure unsuspecting men to their icy graves? Well, that took a dark turn really fast. Is that Elsa? Elsa's luring unsuspecting men to her icy cave? Not her icy cave, her icy grave. To their icy graves, god dang it. In a remote place like this, how long would it take before anybody uncovered your corpse? A day, 2 days, a whole week, perhaps a month? Maybe even longer than that, depending on how dangerous the weather is. I mean, on Mount Everest, for example, there's still bodies there that haven't been collected for a very long time. They just rot there. Being a writer, I couldn't help but ponder such morbid things, though I admit crime fiction has never been my forte. Oh, this sound outside is gonna drive me insane. I shouldn't be doing this. You guys can probably hear it now since there's seemingly no music or sound in the game right now. At least none that I can hear. It's always been my belief that there is enough unpleasantness in real life. We hardly need to fabricate anymore. Yeah, I agree with that. Sachiko says that's because I'm sentimental. Apparently it's one of my better qualities. Sachiko. I don't know. Sachiko says sentiment manifests itself in my eyes. I have unusually pale eyes. I thought it was gonna say unusually purple eyes for some reason. I don't know why. Unusually pale eyes. Well, I guess for a Japanese person that is unusual, huh? I was about to say, like, blue eyes aren't that uncommon. My wife has quite a way with words. Then again, is this writer even Wait. No, we're meeting a Japanese person. Are we Japanese too? Or, like, I don't know. Maybe our eyes are silver. My wife has quite a way with words. I sometimes think her talents are wasted as a wife and mother when she might have an untapped acumen for storytelling. Ooh, you're using some nice words there, words I don't see every day. Gonna have to put that definition up there because I'm sure a lot of people don't know what a acumen means. Like me, I don't know. She's certainly good at gossiping with the other women who attend art classes with her every Wednesday. Sachiko, however, always blushes and shakes her head whenever I suggest this, even as a gentle joke. She says she's more than happy looking after me and our 2 sons. Searching for any greater purpose in life would be presumptuous. Wait a minute, isn't this supposed to be a love story? I already have a wife and 2 children. I don't like where this is going. I appreciate it, I suppose, but I wouldn't mind if she had a touch more ambition beyond preparing the perfect bowl of miso soup in the mornings. Not that Sachiko's miso soup is anything to be sneezed at. That was one of the things I was going to miss the most, I thought, as the car drove on through the night. Sachiko's miso soup. Miso or miso? Miso. I don't know. The miso soup at the Azami Inn would be perfectly fine, I was sure, but it wouldn't be the same. It wouldn't be Sachiko's. This might sound awfully Prozac, but when food has been prepared by the hands of a woman who loves you and has loved you for 25 years, they've been married for 25 years, that's a good long while. That's 15, no wait, I'm not 15. I mean, wait, what? No, I'm not. Frick. That's 6 years older than me. It's longer than I've lived. They've been married for longer than I've been alive. It acquires special properties you can't find anywhere else. Maybe that's the best definition of marital bliss, being able to enjoy breakfast together every morning with a small shared smile despite not having all that much to talk about. Oh, that sounds so nice. I'm never gonna have that. It's a comfortable humdrum kind of existence, I suppose. But the further I ascend into the mountains, the more it began to slip away. With each and every mile I covered, the further away my Bano life with Sachiko seemed. You know, this is a lot of writing, and I like it, you know. I know it's a story, but they could have at least changed the picture every couple of lines, you know. Maybe draw another snow picture a little bit further up the mountain. It seems like we're stuck in place here. Soon the small details, the taste of her miso soup, the pseudo-religious watering of our much-beloved bougainvillas. I don't know what kind of plant that is. And the pervading smell of soup began to slip away. I must confess, I was awfully sorry to be saying farewell to any of it. Are you getting a divorce? Are we divorced already? It wasn't that I did not care for Sachiko, because I did, I still do. We had fallen into a rut, that was all. We had grown too accustomed to one another, and perhaps I was taking Sachiko and her miso soup for granted. Okay, so you wanted a little time away. It's hard to appreciate somebody when you see them every single day, and you recite the same pleasantries to them, and they repeat the same pleasantries back. It's too predictable. Well, just go to Disneyland, man. Just go to Six Flags. Just go somewhere. Go have fun. Take a vacation. Do something exciting. It would be like playing shogi while being able to read your opponent's move. Shogi is like chess, sort of, right? It's like Japanese chess. I don't know. I know I've heard it before. But I've never played it, and I've never seen it be played. While being able to read your opponent's move 5 turns in advance. Where's the fun in that? It's predictable. I can understand that, I guess. To put it another way, our daily routine had become far too familiar, to the extent that it was almost painful. Well, that's why you gotta plan things, man. I've been planning things for when I get a boyfriend. I'm gonna, like, just one day, randomly, I'm just gonna wake them up with water balloons. I'm kidding, that's a terrible idea. You know, just do something fun together. You don't have to wake up, eat your miso soup, and say, I love you, honey, and they say, I love you too, honey, and then you go off to work, and then you come back, and then you water your garden, and you do your whatever things that you normally do with her. You don't have to do that every single day, you know? Find some time for yourselves. Go to the park, go to the movie theater. Go somewhere. Get out of the house. Stop eating your miso soup every day. Order a pizza one day and have a party with friends and family and, I don't know, play the Xbox. You have an Xbox, right? If you don't have an Xbox, then you have a PlayStation, right? Then play something. Play something. A console, the Switch, the Xbox, PlayStation, computer. It doesn't matter. Just pick something up. Play a game. It doesn't even have to be a digital game. You can get a board game, man. Play some Monopoly one night. It's pretty easy to do things that aren't in your daily routine already, since your daily routine seems to just be eating soup, saying how much you like one another, and then watering your weird plants with the weird names. I wasn't trying to run away from Sachiko, I told myself. That wasn't it. I just needed a change of pace. Well, then why didn't you just take her with you? Go on a cruise. Like, what what's wrong with this man? I wanted to remind myself how much my wife meant to me by leaving her. Okay, well, I guess it sort of makes sense, you know? You forget how much you like another person, and then when that person is gone, you remember how much you like them, because that's how weird humans are. I wanted to remind myself why I loved her. I was journeying away from my wife so I could learn to miss her again. I just said that. I should have just kept reading, you know? It would have said all my thoughts in my head anyway. Which would hopefully make our eventual reunion all the more sweeter. Yeah, you'll be like, it'll be like the dog when the dog sees their owner returning from work. You know, all happy and stuff. Because it felt like forever since since the dog has seen his owner. Even though it's most likely been a few hours. But in this case, it's a few days, so it makes more sense. After giving it some thought, I decided upon the perfect location wherein I could ruminate on my marriage. Another word I don't know, but I guess that makes sense why there's a bunch of words I don't know, because this guy's a writer. That would be the snow-capped mountains in Hakuba, more than half an hour away from human civilization. There would be no people at the Zami Inn to disturb my solitude, just the snow and the stars. And that was fine by me. The young boy driving the taxicab hummed under his breath, a song I did not know, and tapped his fingers against the wheel. I don't have a wheel. This is the best tapping you're gonna get. We're almost there, he said, and turned to me and smiled. The darkness obscured much of his face, but I could see the reassuring, gap-toothed grin. One of his front teeth was missing. I thought it rude to ask why, so I didn't comment. I would have asked! No, I'm kidding, I wouldn't. But I couldn't stop myself from fabricating stories. Oh my god, he got into a fight with a dragon, and the dragon punched him in the face with its talon. Okay, that probably didn't happen, but, you know. How far is it now? I asked him, hugging, not judging, hugging my trunk a little closer to my chest. Sound like a little kid. Are we there yet? Are we there yet? Sachiko had helped me pack before my departure. I told her she needn't have bothered, but she was insistent. Despite being such a quiet, retiring woman, Sachiko can... You guys are old. She's retiring. You guys are a lot older than I thought you were. Okay. I was expecting, I don't know, late 30s. But now I'm thinking frickin' 50s, 60s. Maybe even 70s. Like, I don't know what the retiring age is in Japan. I don't... We're in Japan, yes. Okay, do we live in Japan, though? I think we live in Japan. I mean, our wife has a Japanese name. She's making miso soup. Yeah, we're in Japan, definitely. We live there. I'm not just vacationing to Japan. Okay. What is the retirement age over there? I don't know. Sachiko can be awfully insistent about the most mundane of things. But in America, it's like 60-something. 60... something. It keeps getting higher, you know? At this rate, I'm gonna retire when I'm 70. It's awful. Not too far now, said the boy, though boy might be a tough demeaning, as he must have been in his early 20s. 3 or 4 minutes, maybe 5, accounting for traffic. No, I'd still call him a boy. That was probably supposed to be a joke. We hadn't passed a single car during the journey from the train station. I must admit, I was a bit relieved. The road was so poorly lit, any oncoming cars, any oncoming cars could have spelt disaster. It's not like you need to get there in a hurry, is it? Asked the boy. What are you doing up near Hakuba, if you don't mind me asking? Oh, I don't mind at all, I said politely. I'm a writer. I thought going somewhere remote would help me focus, generate a few ideas, that kind of thing. Ooh, an author, he whistled. I don't know how to whistle, and sounded genuinely impressed. Written anything I'd know? I doubt it. I'm not well known by any means, but I make enough to pay the bills. Well, what more than can a man ask for? I'm not too world-wise, but that sounds like a success story to me. Not many people who want to be authors make so much as a penny. Haha, yes, I suppose so, I said, running a hand through my hair. Sometimes I forget. I have a lot to be thankful for. Somebody tell this story to my mom. She keeps wanting me to be a writer, and I keep telling her it's not worth it. And also that I suck at writing. Now, what kind of things do you write? Newspaper articles? Journalism? Some poetry, and I released a novel a couple of years ago, too. A novel, is it? He said, and he whistled again. Now that is fancy. I could be ferrying around the next Ogai Mori. I don't know what that is, but I think it might be, you know, a famous Japanese author, so it makes sense why I don't know who that is. Oh, I doubt I would ever reach such levels of fame. I just dabble, really. Well, I hope you include me in your next literary effort, Mr. Tanabe. Tanabe-iji. Tanabe. You know, I'm just gonna look it up. I'm gonna look it up so I at least can pronounce the main character's name correctly. You know, I have a feeling we're gonna read that more than once. And I don't want to sound stupid, so I'm just gonna search how you pronounce it. Tanabe-iji. Yeah, I'm sure that's how you say it. Tanabe-iji. Okay, I was saying it right. Tanabe-iji. Okay, good. Alright, Mr. Tanabe, I'll remember that. And he nodded his head determinedly, like a chicken pecking up words. You didn't see it, guys, but I pegged my computer. Well, sorta. I didn't really touch it, but I dipped my head down towards my computer. That was a cruel simile. I almost said smile. Though, and I chastised myself for thinking such a thing. I hadn't realized it, spending so much of my life inside the city, but I could be quite a snob. Most writers are. That was another reason I told myself why going to the countryside would be good. It was always useful to see new sights and broaden my horizons. But they have a reason to be snobby. It's 'cause they can write so well and others can't. Open my mind. The moon up ahead, shining in the apex of the sky like a pearl, split the swirling fog and snow with pale rays of light. My God, this is written really well. Especially if it was written in Japanese first and then translated into English. This is written better than I expected. It's a free game, by the way, guys. It's a free game on Steam. And this is written very nicely. I'm still not sure if I like the story yet, but it's written with some quality, you know. Like, this would make a good book. Like, actual book. Not just a game book, whatever you call this. It would make a good, real book. So, with how well it's being written. In the dark, the moonlight looked lethal. So whoever is making this, you should make books. I don't mean to sound like my mom, but you definitely should make books. I shouldn't. I'm bad at reading. I mean, not reading, writing. I'm bad at reading. But you know what? I am bad at reading. But I'm more so bad on writing. But you are not, whoever made this. Ethereal. It was the kind of moon. I like the word ethereal. It was the kind of moon so perfectly round and full that could drive one to madness. So, werewolf moon? You a werewolf, Tanabe? You gonna turn to a werewolf and kill this man? You better include me in your next novel, Mr. Tanabe, said the driver with his distinct... See what I mean when I said I couldn't read? With his distinct gap-toothed smile, and I found myself thinking that maybe I would. He wasn't a character that was easy to forget. The teeth helped. I'm Hanada Yosuke. Yosuke. Yosuki. Yosuki? I don't know. I'm Hanada, whatever. A pleasure to meet you. Oh no, the pleasure's all mine, I demurred, and the young taxi driver, Yosuke, tittered. I forgot Japanese, people normally, say their last name first and then the first name. God dang it. I was like, I don't need to know Yosuke. That's the last name. Oh, freaking. Well, now I'm gonna just... That's English. Yosuke. Okay. The problem is, I can't read Japanese when it's written in English. I can only read it when it's written in I can read better when it's in hiragana than when it's written in Latin characters. I know that's weird, but well, only sometimes, because I used to know the full hiragana, but I slowly forgot it because I haven't been doing my Japanese lessons on the app that I forgot the name of. Duolingo, that's the name. I actually had 2 apps, I think. Where was the other one? Memrise. I had 2 apps where I'm learning Japanese. And I used to be really good at reading the hiragana, you know? Understanding it, reading it, writing it. I suck at it now, but still, for some names and words in Japanese, I think I would be able to read them better, pronounce them better, if I saw the hiragana and not the Latin characters that I'm used to because I'm an English speaker. Which makes no sense at all, but I don't know. Maybe it makes sense to those of you who know the hiragana, because I don't know, it makes sense to me. it makes some sense to me in my scattered, sick brain. Also, I'm noticing that the picture's shifting. That's what I'm noticing. There we go. Okay. Incredible. A writer saying it's a pleasure to make my acquaintance. I never thought I'd live to see the day. He sounded so bemused by the idea, I smiled. You know, if you really want something interesting to write about, for your next novel, of course, there's no better setting than the Azami Inn, said Yosuke. How do you pronounce that again? I knew I would need this. God dang it. Yosuke. Yosuke companionably. Man, those words. I want to use them in my own stories that I write. After a lull in the conversation. It's beautiful around there. Not that I have much of an eye for it still. Still, all the snow and the hills and this quaint little building out in the middle of nowhere. Very pretty. Yes, it sounds delightful. Lonely too, I think, but that should suit you down to the ground. A bit of peace and quiet helps stimulate the imagination, right? That is the general idea. All the noise in the big city can be a bit... I searched for the correct word, but I couldn't find it. Distracting? Maybe it had been stolen by the snow. Oh, I can imagine, said Yosuke. I forgot it again. Yosuke. Okay, I said it right. Yosuke, sensing my discomfort. I lived around here all my life, but still, the big city, eh? The big city indeed. I'd love to go there once or twice, just to look around, but I don't think I could ever settle somewhere like that. From what I've heard, there are too many buildings and far too many people. I like the peace and quiet, though even I'd get a bit antsy if I had to stay in the Azami Inn too long. I don't know how Why am I playing this game? This is just gonna make me look stupid, reading all these Japanese words and names that I cannot pronounce. Okay. Miss Kaki... This is another name that I would probably read better if it was written out in hiragana. Miss Kakuichi? Miss Kakiuchi. Miss Kakiuchi. Miss Kakiuchi. That sounds wrong. Kakiuchi? Oh my god, I'm getting these right. Miss Kakiuchi does it. The proprietress is... I'm pretty sure that's how you pronounce that. You know, I'm not looking it up. I trust myself. So, I'm not looking that word up because I'm pretty sure I'm pronouncing it correctly. The one and the same, said Yosuke with a nod. Yosuke. Yosuke or Yosuke? I'm not looking it up again. She's been living up there for, gosh, I don't know how long. Maybe longer than I've been alive, because as long as there's been the Azami Inn, there's been Miss Kakiuchi. Kakiuchi. She used to run it with her husband, not run with it. So maybe she wasn't too lonely before, but he's dead now. Died years ago. I looked at Yasuke, intrigued. Ideas began to grow inside my head, just like acorns sprout into proud oak trees. What happened to Miss Kakiuchi? I asked, casually as I could muster, but my... Mr. Not Miss. Did I say Miss? I think I said Miss. Mr. Kakiuchi. I asked as casually as I could muster, but my efforts were probably in vain. I'd already told Yosuke I was a writer, and people never trust writers. At least they shouldn't. It's true, you shouldn't. Know how many real-life references I've made in stories I've written? Millions. Don't ever tell me something you don't want me to hear. I won't tell anyone it, but I'll write it. We crowd around misery like vultures and pick the bones clean until there's nothing left. Well, I'm usually looking for funny stuff to put in my stories, but sure, I suppose people can put real-life misery in there. If you're a mystery writer, like Nancy Drew, well, actually I've never read a Nancy Drew novel. I'm pretty sure they're not dark. But you know, murder mysteries. I can't think of a murder mystery novel, but you know, darker novels probably are based somewhat on real-life events. Yosuke, who doesn't seem to be the most intelligent of people, well, he seemed pretty smart to me, was still sharp enough because he grinned. It was a wolfish grin, all too fitting for the large pearly moon. Ah, so you're interested, are you, Mr. Tanabe? He asked. It is an interesting story, I can't help myself. And rather well known, too. There are all kinds of stories about the Azami Inn, as I said, and Miss Kakuichi. Not all of them are pleasant, and I don't believe half of them, but they're very interesting. I should let you know before you continue that I don't write crime stories. Oh well, more's the pity, said Yasuke with a shrug. When you get a pretty young woman and a dead husband, there are bound to be rumors. But the truth is a lot simpler. He was old, Mr. Kakiuchi. A good 2 decades older than his wife, wow. That's crazy. My mom and my dad were already like 1 decade, and I thought that was a huge gap. But 2 decades? That's 20 years older than the other person. That's a big gap. Like, one person was 20 when the other person was born. That's crazy to think about. And you know, when you're old and you live up in the mountains, chances are you'll catch a cold at some point you won't be able to fend off. So he died just like that? Just like that. Rather anticlimactic, all things considered, but people love talking. You can't stop them talking, even in a place like this, Yasuke smiled. I talk enough myself. My fiancée, Hatsumi, always berates me. Still, she can't hate it that much, or she wouldn't have agreed to marry me. You have a fiancé? Congratulations. Yasuke thanked me, smiling sheepishly. I almost said sheepishly smiling. Honestly, I feel a bit sorry for Miss Kakuichi, all things considered. She must be awfully lonely up there without a husband, and the residents of Higashikawa... I always have trouble deciding where the syllable ends. You know, like, is it Higashikawa, or is it Higashikawa, or Higashikawa? Kawa. uh, whatever, I'm not looking it up. Higashikawa aren't too keen on her either. Doesn't she have anybody else? She has a daughter, sweet little thing, Reiko. Reiko, right? It's not Rico? Reiko? I'm not looking it up. Miss Kakuichi has... Kakiuchi... Frickin' heck. Miss Kakiuchi has always been very protective, and no wonder after what happened to her husband. Reiko. I nodded my head. I would have to file this away for future reference. Doesn't she have any staff? Oh, she employs a few girls. Mai Hatsumi was one of them. But it's a small business. She doesn't get many customers, you see. I see, I said, and I did see. I looked out the window, and I could see the hills covered in snow, with yet more snow falling, and I saw only too clearly. Is my mic too close to me? Is that better? Hey, future me, edit this. Okay, there we go. It's probably better. I couldn't imagine many people coming to the Azami Inn, not even those who were passionate about skiing. There were places to stay that were closer to the main roads, where you didn't have to hire a taxi and wind your way through the mountains for over half an hour to reach your destination. If Sachiko were here, I knew what she would say. None of this was very sensible. Still, as I wasn't a sensible man, but a sensitive one, this kind of location would, as Yosuke had said, suit me down to the ground. My god, that was the longest taxi ride I've ever been in. Is that Reiko? I apologize for arriving so late. My train was delayed. Okay, should I do voices or should I not do voices? I don't know. I feel like if I do voices, I'm gonna do them horribly. Because I don't know how to do... I don't know how to do... different women voices. All my women voices are mostly the same. They're all kind of just... It's alright, you know, just a slightly higher pitch of my own voice. Nothing fancy to them. They're kind of annoying and grating. You know what? I'm not gonna do it. I'm not gonna do it for this Let's Play. It's quite alright. I expected as much, given all the snow. The woman, I presumed, was Miss Kakiuchi, replied. I'm happy to receive any customers, no matter how late they may arrive. Business has been slow? What do you expect? She asked, with a touch of wry amusement to her tone. Her voice was soft, but there was a certain bite to it, some hardness I was not able to pin down. Perhaps a touch of hardness was only to be expected, coming from a woman who had lived in this inn high up in the mountains for so very long. Had she been softer, I wondered, when her husband was still alive? I would never know. 'Cause he's dead. Now, Miss Kakiuchi, how can I describe her? She looked really young. I thought she was her daughter. Words failed me at the time, and they fail me even now. I suppose if I had to put a single word to it, she was beautiful. Already you're thinking about other women? No, I'm kidding. A man can think that multiple women are beautiful, just as a woman can think that multiple men are handsome. However, it is important to stay loyal to the person who you love. But that wasn't entirely right. She was the kind of woman who had been beautiful once, beautiful enough to drive men to distraction, but old age had tempered some of her beauty, softening the edges so it no longer had an acute, piercing effect. I don't know what that means. That was a good thing, I think. Such beauty can be used as a weapon, like an arrow, but this was an arrow whose tip had been sanded smooth. Her hair was dark and glossy, cut into a neat bob reminiscent of a kokeshi doll. I don't know what that is. It was an unusual choice for an older woman. Yeah, that's what I thought as soon as I saw her. That's why I didn't think she was old. She must have been in her 40s. She doesn't look like she's in her 40s. She looks like she's in her 20s. Maybe even younger if you ignore the dimples and the little tiny wrinkles above her nose. And under her eyes. Unless that's just circles. You know, dark circles from not sleeping. But it could be supposed to be wrinkles, since she's supposed to be in her 40s. But that only served to heighten my interest in her. Her eyes were the color of roasted tea leaves. Oh, brown. Brown, right? It looks red to me. I don't know. And they were lined with thick, long lashes. When she blinked, her lashes fluttered in a beguiling manner that cast shadows against her face. Her skin was pale, and though there were some wrinkles around her mouth, I thought those were dimples. It was unblemished, save for 2 moles no bigger than pinheads beneath her right eyes. Right eye. She doesn't have multiple right eyes. She wore a modest kimono of muted colors and stood there regally. Her hands held at her front. I looked at from afar. If looked at from afar, one could have been forgiven for thinking she was 10 or 20 years younger than she really was. Okay, good, because I thought that when I looked at her from afar. But time waits for no man. At any rate, Miss Kakiuchi didn't seem to be the kind of person who steeped herself in her own nostalgia. Everything about her, from her tone of voice to the way she stood, suggested she was far too sensible to bother with such nonsense. She wasn't sentimental. Something about her posture almost seemed to defy sentiment. She wasn't like me. I suppose we were quite a poor match. That's a good thing. You shouldn't be thinking about matching with people when you have a wife and 2 children. In any event, I hope you enjoy your stay at the Azami Inn, said Miss Kakiuchi. It was a line she must have delivered many times, and she said it beautifully, like a skilled artisan might pluck a heart-rending melody from a koto. I must confess, I feel rather abashed. No, I don't know what a koto is. I had been imagining in my city-born and bred hubris that the folk who resided in the countryside were simpler than I somehow. I had been wrong. I am Kakiuchi Keio, she said, by means of making my acquaintance, though there was a certain reticence to her tone. It's nice to meet you. Likewise, I said, bowing my head. My name is Tanabe Iji. Mr. Tanabe, Miss Kakiuchi repeated, with a small nod of her head. When she said my name, commonplace though it was, its properties seemed to change in some curious manner. European alchemists might have striven for years to turn base metals into gold, but Miss Kakiuchi had succeeded in a certain kind of thaumaturgy. I know that word, I've seen it in video games, but I've never heard it out loud said, so I can't repeat it. Whatever, of her own. Well, if I need to introduce myself further, I have been running the Azami Inn for some 14 years, ever since the death of my husband. I'm sure Yasuke has told you about that already. He might have mentioned a thing or 2, yes. You don't need to spare my feelings. I know what the people around here say. They enjoy their gossip. There's not much else to gossip about. I don't think Mr. Hanada meant anything by it. He was just making conversation. At my expense of my dignity, I don't doubt, said Miss Kakiuchi icily. Though Yasuke hadn't said anything incriminating, I found myself feeling guilty, as if I had conspired against her. Let us move on from this subject, she said, noticing my discomfort. It is unpleasant, particularly after such a long journey now. Miss Kakiuchi explained the general running of the inn to me, when meals were prepared, where the hot springs were, and who to speak to if I had a complaint, while I nodded dumbly, stunned into silence. So, she said, once she had finished her short business spiel, I trust this is satisfactory. That is more than satisfactory, thank you, I said, stuttering. Why was I stuttering? Being around Miss Kakiuchi, held under the steady gaze of her dark brown eyes, had the most incredible effect on me. I suddenly had an itch on my back. I felt not like a grown man with 2 sons, but a naughty child, being scolded by my father for playing too zealously about the Zelkova tree in our garden. Did you look up a word for a tree with a Z in it just so it could go along with zealously? I doubt that, considering this is, since, I believe this was written in Japanese first, so I would doubt that connection, but interesting nonetheless. Miss Kakiyuchi was probably a few years younger than I, but she regarded me archly, like one who had seen far more than I could ever imagine. I know it might sound rather harsh, but I understood immediately why the residents of the nearby village didn't like her very much. She was not a likable woman. I haven't made an opinion on her yet. I shall get Reiko to show you to your room. She may as well make herself useful. Okay, now, yeah, I get it. I hear it now, said Miss Kakiyuchi. With that declaration, the proprietress turned, frick, her bobbed hair fluttering, and called out in tones that would have made an emperor balk. Reiko, we have a customer! There was a shuffling of feet as Reiko hastened. I don't know why my voice did that. Hastened to answer her mother's call. I pictured her as skinny, uncomfortably so, with big eyes and lips pulled into a permanent frown, her head bent and her gait stumbling. But the Reiko who answered Miss Kakiyuchi's summons was rather different. My imagination had betrayed me yet again. And she was beautiful. She was rather young, that much was true. Still a teenager, I supposed. And she was slight, but not in an awkward manner. Her limbs were pale and slender, and she moved like a little ballerina. Yes, you called, Mother? She looked just like Miss Kakiyuchi. I said that right that time. Or had done, I imagined, before old age had seen fit to sap away her youthful charms. Reiko even had a beauty mark beneath her eye, though it was located under her left, not her right, and it was only one and not two. Other than that, it was an almost perfect facsimile of her mother's, like she was some kind of copy. It's Nick! I don't know if the episode is up yet, but there was an episode of The Sims 100 Baby Challenge where I say that Nick doesn't have children, he has clones. Just because all the babies look like him. A homunculus child raised in a glass jar. But these thoughts are rather too fanciful. This is Mr. Tanabe, said Miss Kakiyuchi, gesturing towards me. He has recently arrived from Tokyo. Can you take his bag and show him to his room? It's the one you were preparing earlier on the west side. Of course, said Reiko, with a small bow of her head. I shall do it at once. She bent to pick up my bag, first brushing the sleeve of her kimono to one side when... No, that will never do. Reiko flinched at the reprimand. She was now halfway between retrieving my case and standing straight. The sleeves of her kimono were still rolled back, and I could see her arms. They were as pale as the snow that fell outside, shot through with delicate blue veins. Oh my god, it's my arms! I need to go outside more. Though I wanted to, I could not bring myself to look away. Why, you think that's beautiful? A lot of people tell me it's creepy. My mom complains about it constantly, every time she sees me. When you are picking up luggage, Reiko, you shouldn't let your sleeves bunch up about your elbows. It's unseemly, said Miss Kakiyuchi. Well, how the heck are you supposed to prevent that? You got these big ol' sleeves. When you bend down, it's just a normal habit. I mean, you don't want the sleeves to get in the way of picking up the package. Oh well, whatever. I'm sorry. Don't apologize, said Miss Kakiyuchi coolly, for I have told you this time and time again. Try to remember next time, please. All right. Reiko sounded so despondent, any words of reassurance I might have thought to offer died on my tongue. I had already divined, I don't know, during this most perfunctory of greetings that her mother scolded her quite a lot. Yeah, probably. Reiko led me up to my room in silence, my suitcase held in her arms. If the case were heavy for her, I did not know. You know what? I'm making sure that it's Reiko and not Reiko. Okay, I'm right. That's important for me to know. She didn't slow down, and neither did she seem hampered by her burden. Her footsteps were slow and regular, like that of clockwork. Hemmed in by her kimono, she could only take short, dainty steps. Right foot in front of the left, then the left in front of the right, then repeat. Tap, tap, tap. I followed along behind her like an attentive schoolboy. The wooden hallway was dimly lit, and I had an itch in my ear, and I could hear the sound of the wind whistling outside. My footsteps made the floor creak ominously. I tried to think of things to say, but nothing sounded quite right. The weather's awful around here, isn't it? Would have been too pedestrian. You really do have beautiful eyes. Would have been too forthcoming. Is your mother always like that? Would have been too personal. Despite having many things I wanted to say, I could say nothing. You could just say the snow outside looks nice. Or maybe the room looks nice. Or I like your inn's style. Just a compliment would have been nice. Or nothing is nice too. I didn't know why, but I wanted to talk to this girl. Maybe it was pity, because of the way she had flinched when her mother had spoken to her, and really she must have been lonely. If Yasuke suspected Miss Kakiuchi of melancholia, then what about her daughter? Her dollar! What about her dollar? Reiko's hair fluttered behind her, inky black like a veil in the darkness. But though she was small, Reiko did not tarry in her march. Instead, she continued as quiet as a mirror. What? And just as inscrutable. Okay, that was a weird one. Tap, tap, tap. Even back then, I was enamored with her. Okay, we're getting into weird places here. The age difference here is scary. Maybe it was the romance of the situation. How could you blame me? And also the fact that he has a wife and 2 children. There was something very poetic about Reiko's plight, an uncommon beauty hidden from prying eyes, lost amidst the ice and snow. Tap, tap, tap. After 20 seconds or so, I thought it seemed like longer, Reiko's footsteps stopped. She halted by a nondescript wooden door, much like the others that lined the hallway. Your room, she said, by means of explanation, not that it needed explaining. I thanked her all the same and took my case from her outstretched hands. Our fingertips brushed for less than a second. I don't know why I was about to say half a second. Yeah, that's the sound of fingertips brushing. Okay, sorry. This is the sound of fingertips brushing. If I had been a younger boy, Kenji's age, perhaps. Who's Kenji? Is that your son? I fear I might have blushed. It's rather late, and we don't normally serve food at this time, said Reiko, addressing the floor rather than my face. But I'm sure the cook would be more than happy to prepare something for you. Mother said you traveled a long way. It's all right, I replied, though it had been some 5 hours since I'd last eaten. I don't want to inconvenience you. But you're a guest, said Reiko. This time she did lift her head. Doesn't that give you the right to inconvenience us just a little? You're paying for the privilege. Ah. I blinked. Words once more were conspicuously absent. Don't you pack food? I pack food when I go on vacation. Do you not have any miso soup in your bag that you can microwave? They have microwaves here, right? She was actually smiling. So she did not dislike me, and neither was she afraid. She couldn't have been, to joke with me so casually, for that was what it was. Why would she be afraid of you? She has no reason. A joke. I couldn't stop myself from laughing. Ah! Ha 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 ha! Okay. Sorry, that was the loudest I'm gonna get. It was a small laugh, really, but then again, Reiko's smile had been rather demure. A hearty chuckle wouldn't have suited the atmosphere, but I've never been one to laugh that much. I'm too self-conscious. But Reiko made me laugh all the same. Well, you might have a point, I said. I suppose I wouldn't mind some green tea. I need a bit of warming up. I know, said Reiko, with a nod of her head. It can be horribly cold around here. I hope my room has a kotatsu. I don't know what that is. An air conditioning system? A heater? A heater? Of course, we live in the mountains. It would be a sin not to have a kotatsu. Our guests might catch their deaths of cold, she said, throwing her arms in the air for emphasis. Their deaths might catch cold. Their deaths might catch a... I don't even know what I was trying to say there. You guys can't see me, what I'm doing anyways, because I don't have a webcam. Well, I do have a webcam, I just don't use it. I smiled. Well, I wouldn't want that. I don't intend to stay here that long. Though the mountains were picturesque, I did not fancy extending my trip. A most unfortunate side effect of death is that it tends to render people immobile, tied to one place for the rest of their, well, not lives. I don't blame you, said Reiko seriously. I wouldn't stay here if I had the choice, which I don't. A small sigh. Oh well, I shouldn't say things like that. Mother would be cross with me. She'd say it was bad for business. I think things are stacked against us already, but what do I know? You seem to be quite knowledgeable in my humble opinion. Hee, thank you, she said with a bow of her head. I know I said I wouldn't do voices, but I'm doing voices. I didn't mean to, it just happened. Her hair fluttered, caught in a sudden draught of icy air. I knew it was because of the wind, but seized by sentimentality, I couldn't help but imagine it was because she was so very full of life. Reiko, was livelier by far than she had been before. The sudden contrast between her demure, trampled lily persona and the new one I was witnessing, witty, funny, and unabashedly charming, caught me off guard. Could the caterpillar have emerged from its chrysalis in a scant 5 seconds? But no, such transformations do not take place so rapidly. Not in the real world. This is so cheesy. This is so corny. I wondered. Did Reiko's new-found freeness have anything to do, perhaps, with the absence of her mother? Well, no shiz, Sherlock! I'm sorry. Quiet. All right. I'll see you about that green tea and perhaps a simple bowl of rice porridge. I think you should get something in your stomach. Do I look peaky? I guess that was her speaking. Oh well. Do I look peaky? Reiko pretended to... Reiko! Now I'm saying Reiko. God dang it. Reiko pretended to ponder, one hand beneath her chin. Perhaps a bit tired. Long train journeys do that, especially at my age. I wonder. I've never been on a train before, said Reiko. There was something wistful about her tone. Her eyes were misty and far away. I've never been on a train either. Except for, those... the smaller trains that are, amusement parks. I've been on one of those, but I've never been on an actual train. I've always wanted to go on a train, though. But there's just been no reason to go on a train. At least not yet, anyway. She was so transparent, her thoughts flickered across the surface of her mind like ripples in a pool. But then Reiko shook her head and clapped her hands, and the illusion was over. Right, green tea, rice porridge. Please feel free to make yourself at home and discover the delights of the Azami Inn. Thank you for your hospitality, I said, bowing my head. I intend to. Oh, and it's perfectly fine if you want to use the katatsu, but make sure the fire in the brazier... The brazier? I must be saying that word wrong. Has burnt down before you sleep. We wouldn't want you to start a fire. No, I said with a shake of my head. We wouldn't want that. Not at all, Reiko repeated. There's going to be a fire. But I couldn't help but wonder. Inside her amber eyes, I swore I could see flickering flames. I thought her eyes were green. I think I'm colorblind. I thought they were like a greenish-brownish. But he said amber, so they're either yellow or they're a honey brown. That's amber in the human world. Reiko was as good as her word. She returned to my room momentarily. I swear they look green! The green tea and rice porridge on a tray. They were both piping hot. Okay, green tea and rice porridge do not sound appetizing to me, but I'm so hungry right now that it sounds that sounds a little bit appetizing, man. I want some green tea and some rice porridge. Not really. I kind of just want food. She did not linger, though I would have liked to converse with her further. That would have been improper. Yeah, it would have been very improper. A woman should not tarry for so long in a man's private quarters, though Reiko was not a woman, really, so much as a girl. Creepy. Reiko's kimono flattened out her figure, making it nigh impossible to tell whether she had curves or not, but her age was apparent by the tone of her voice and the softness of her skin. Not that such details improved the situation. If anything, it made them worse. A woman in a man's room at night is improper enough, but a teenage girl? That is truly a source of scandal. Yeah. Scandal in the eyes of the newspapers, but a sensationalist romance if transmuted by the hands of an author. Are you gonna write about it now, mister? It all depends on how you frame things. That's true. In any case, Reiko departed with that now familiar tap, tap, tap of her wooden sandals against the tatami mats, and I was left alone. The green tea was delicious, the leaves brewed perfectly, and the rice porridge was thick and nourishing. I don't like the word thick to describe things when I'm eating them. Unless it's like a thick slab of meat. But when it's liquids, no, it just makes me feel gross. Or semi-liquids. I don't like porridge that much. And rice porridge just sounds gross. No offense to anyone who likes that. I enjoyed the food a good deal, though not as much as Sachiko's. Sachiko knows exactly how I prefer my tea, and she can steep the leaves in perfect accordance to my preferences down to the last millisecond. Of course, Sachiko's tea would be superior. I've been married to her for more than 20 years. It is a most curious phenomenon, however, that men accustomed to perfection will begin to tire of it. They will? Is there anything more selfish than a man who cannot be satisfied? Maybe. Sometimes I have to wonder. It was still snowing outside. I could see the snow in the air falling thick and fast beyond I can't help but think that there actually is sound. I just can't hear it because I lowered the volume because the title music was so loud. Yeah, there's definitely sound. Well, that's more editing for me. Whatever. It was still snowing outside. I could see the snow in the air falling thick and fast beyond my window. It looks pretty light and slow to me. The sight of it made me feel warmer than perhaps I was, for the room was cold and seemed to bleed heat from the tatami mats. Fortunately, the kotatsu helped. Warmed both inside and out, tired from my journey, I turned in for the night half an hour later. I didn't think I might have dreamt about Reiko. I think I didn't dreamt about Reiko. I dreamt about Reiko. Something about Reiko and dreaming. The second day. We got an achievement the first day. Okay, well, that's gonna be all for this time. We'll start day 2 in the next episode. I think I'm just gonna make these super long episodes, cause there's really no reason to not do that. So we're gonna have 6 episodes basically, unless there's an epilogue. So 1 episode for every day. So this is the end of the first day, and next episode will be the second. And these are going to be very long episodes, but it's alright. I don't mind. No one's going to watch this, that's okay. Anyway, bye.